So I'm not one really for many trucker hats. I own more than one, but I don't really wear them that often, much less in my videos. But this one was clearly an exception. And if we're being honest, I think I got kind of close. A Rock is the debut album released by Hardy. This is an album I'm doing with a little mini series I'm going to do this week. I'm going to try to review a lot of country albums that I have missed over the past year and see just how many I can squeeze in. And this one came up most recently, and I thought I would give it a listen. It enticed me a little bit, and we're here now. Let's talk about it. So as I mentioned before, this is his first album, and he would have what I would call a modern, not necessarily twang, but probably that modern delivery of where country music is trying to be without being too poppy or too unnecessarily mainstream in the wrong kind of way. At least that's the way that I'm taking it. If you are a diehard country music lover and you think I'm totally wrong, you can correct me, and I wouldn't take any offense to that, but let's just get to the point. But what I try to convey when I am saying that is that I thought that my first impression listening to his voice and his songs was overall pleasant. I knew I didn't love it perfectly. I knew I had issues with it initially, but now I have more to say, having give it a more in-depth analysis. And so let's talk about kind of the vibe of the album and dissect some of the songs with moments that I loved and some that maybe I didn't so much. So yeah, we're gonna keep going. I actually do like the first song, Truck, quite a bit. And kind of the idea, he's basically trying to say that you can judge a country person by their truck because you can tell what kind of stuff they carry in it, what kind of road stains or dirt is on it, and things like that. So that was kind of actually interesting to try and listen to that song. The next song, Boyfriend, was interesting because I thought initially it was going to kind of be a breakup song when really it's more of a proposal song. And I'll give it props for having that kind of creativity. In addition to that, the guitar that is played right after the end of each chorus, that part had a really good element added on top to it. Now, I'm going to sound stupid when I talk about this, but just bear with me for a second. The song called Give Heaven Some HE Double Hockey Sticks. Yes, I have to say it that way. That one also has great guitar in it. It just has a beautiful echoey effect to it. I love that so much. Now I have some qualms with some of the words added in the song Broke Boy, but the subject matter of it basically is encouraging in a way that is saying, you know, it doesn't really matter what your status is. If you got game with the ladies, you can make it work. The song Hate Your Hometown is basically a lovesick song. I actually enjoyed this one quite a bit because he's basically saying that the girl's gonna take a vacation, I guess, of some kind, and he's basically saying, I just hope you hate everything when you go there and miss me so much. Oh my gosh, please, baby, I love you. You know, that kind of thing. But of all the songs that I really do love, I am going to go with the title track, A Rock. This is where I think he has probably the most clever lyrical writing in here. There's plenty to admire in this album as far as the production, as far as some of the switch ups for what you can do with instrumentation in country music for being, I'll go with above basic in that regard. He is painting a beautiful picture and he's using the words a rock in completely different contexts for each verse that continues on. A rock can refer to an actual rock. It can refer to a ring. It can refer to the earth. It can refer to a tombstone. It refers to a lot of things in here. Yeah, that's the one I think people should definitely give a good listen to. Now, I'm going to blend together the next songs in this album with the ones that I was kind of lukewarm with and the ones that I didn't like so much. And I'm going to do it in a progression that seems like it's going to make sense, where you start noticing where I don't like the songs, but I'm not going to really say it. So I guess you're just going to have to pay attention. I'm sorry. But I will say there is a theme with it. The thing that holds this album back the most for me, this isn't for everyone, this is for me, is that in this album, and I guess in country music in general, there are what I would call socially country music accepted swears. I wouldn't say this album is ultra vulgar. He has a couple moments like that, but there are things in here that just is like, I don't need this in the music. That's just kind of the person I am. But what I really didn't like about those specific factors that he had in it is that it just kind of got old. It didn't feel like he was pushing himself lyrically, and I felt like that's the part that was turning me off, in addition to the fact that I just would rather not have that in my music. But again, that's just me. I know the comments, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. With just that element compared to what I think he could do, I'm not going to say that this was definitely destined for brilliance for a debut. Very few times does that really happen. But I will say that I think that there is a chance he could have spent a little bit more time in just carving out and just thinking and writing down and maybe adding another twist to his lyrics that could have been in the songs. So, now that I've spoken my piece on that, let's talk about the middle of the road and the not so great part of the road. The song Boots was not too bad. It just had kind of a moment where it seemed like he was almost experimenting with metal music. Just kind of in that hard rock moment, and I'm like, that didn't feel like it belonged in this element. So it was just like, oh, that was just kind of a weird jump surprise there. Hardy has two songs in here that kind of feel like his self-proclaimed country themes that he's got out there. The first one being Where Ya At? This one definitely has the vibe going, and it's calling to like the whole worldwide country world. And I feel like tons of people would get on board with this song. The other one in that category is called Unapologetically Country as ATL Hockey Sticks. I know. Just bear with me. Heaven's sakes, goodness gracious. This one's not bad. It just doesn't have as much oomph in it. And so I just go with the latter rather than this one, but this one's not bad. The song titled So Close, I actually don't have a problem with this song. I just don't think it was executed as well in recording. I think this would be a great live concert song. I really do. Just something about it just made me think, I'm not enjoying this as much. But if I heard it from the horse's mouth in front of me, or maybe 100 people in front of me, and then him, I think I would like it then. The song Ain't a Bad Day, this one has some of that background guitar I mentioned before, but it doesn't feel like this time it added as much of an effect to lift the song up. I'm not sure if it necessarily brought it down, but it felt like, oh, well, you're trying, but it's not landing for me. The song One Beer. This one has, I think, a well-intentioned message, but I don't necessarily agree with it. I think it comes from just a point of view and a lifestyle that I'm personally not familiar with, so I guess I just have to accept that fact. But at the same time, in the lyrics that I can read, not just listen, but I can read them, I go forward and read them and think, that's not how I would go about it in the situation that is being sung about. I wouldn't get on board with that. All right, so spoken my piece about it. Plenty of here that makes me think, yeah, this guy, for a starter, has potential. I'd like to know if country music fans think that they think the same way. Again, maybe there's elements in there that they're going to agree way more than me for the things that I described. But I'm also curious what they think about just kind of the style and the direction that this country artist in particular is going, because that's something I'm trying to understand going and listening to country music that is coming out now, and occasionally going and doing some throwbacks and thinking, oh, this is nice. Because this is a genre where I can't understand where the progression, if it's moving in the way that country music lovers like or do not like. Because I hear some qualms about it, just not as much for me to actually get the best understanding. So, after having listened and reviewed this album, I'm going to give production a B+, I'm going to give creativity a B-, I'm going to give expression and lyrics a D, and how would I recommend this album? I would give it a good/okay. I am indeed split on this album, but I like the artist himself. I think that there's plenty to get from that. If I heard him live, I think I would be pretty happy. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me in my social media links down in the description, and be sure to leave a like for the video and leave a comment down below if you also want to engage with me. And if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time.